Apple just completely broke their own hardware cycle, and if you are sitting around waiting for the M5 Mac Mini, you need to hear this right now because everything we thought we knew about Cupertino's desktop timeline just went completely out the window. WWDC has officially wrapped up, and Tim Cook gave us absolutely zero new hardware. No Macs, no iPads, nothing. Instead, it was a massive single-minded pivot to AI features and Siri updates. This completely flies in the face of every single supply chain leak we tracked over the winter, pointing directly to a late spring or summer launch. Even weirder, Asian assembly lines are already leaking details about next-generation M6 silicon hitting laptops later this year. So what gives? Did Apple just pull a repeat of the unloved M3 generation and quietly kill off the M5 Mac Mini behind closed doors? Honestly, I'll believe it when I see it, but the data says no. The M5 Mini isn't dead, but it is currently stuck in absolute supply chain purgatory. It has been 19 long months since the M4 Mac Mini dropped, making this one of the longest, most painful droughts for Apple's desktop line in recent memory. But this delay isn't because the engineering teams over at Apple Park are slacking off. It comes down to a brutal industry-wide RAM and storage component shortage that is wrecking production schedules across the entire tech world. Right now, global tech suppliers are prioritizing high-bandwidth memory for corporate AI enterprise data centers because that is where the massive, obscene profit margins are. Tech giants are throwing billions at suppliers, leaving consumer hardware brands fighting for the scraps. To make matters worse, Apple inadvertently sabotaged their own inventory when they redesigned the M4 Mac Mini into that tiny 5x5-inch chassis, and finally made 16 gigabytes of unified memory the standard base configuration. They accidentally created the ultimate budget AI server. Software developers and corporate tech departments have been buying up current M4 Minis in massive bulk quantities to run and train local large language models. The unified memory architecture handles these AI workloads so efficiently for the price that enterprise buyers completely wiped out Apple's component stockpiles. If you try to order a current Gen M4 Mini today, the shipping delays are honestly hilarious. You are looking at 4 to 6 weeks for a base model, 9 to 10 weeks if you want 24 gigabytes, and up to 12 weeks if you spec out a 48 gigabyte Pro model. Mark Gurman over at Bloomberg noted that Apple faced a brutal choice this season. They could either launch an M5 model that they couldn't actually ship to customers, or push the timeline back until the global supply chain stabilized. They chose to wait. So, when do we actually get our hands on this machine? Ming-Chi Kuo is pointing his finger directly at an October or November release window later this year. If you are hoping for a radical new look to accompany that new silicon, don't hold your breath. The M4 variant gave us the first major chassis redesign in 14 years. Apple is absolutely going to reuse this ultra-compact 5x5-inch footprint for at least the next half-decade to maximize their manufacturing margins. The real changes are happening under the hood, and they are going to spark a massive debate in the comments section. According to recent supply chain reports from DG Times, Apple is officially killing off the 256 gigabyte storage tier across almost all Macs, except for that entry-level MacBook Neo. That means the base M5 Mac Mini will finally start with a faster, dual-chip 512GB solid-state drive alongside 16 GB of unified memory. If you step up to the M5 Pro, a recent report from the LX suggests a baseline configuration of a massive 1TB drive and 24 GB of RAM. This Pro chip will utilize a brand new ultra-high bandwidth Fusion architecture, designed specifically to supercharge local GPU and machine learning tasks. But there is a catch, and it is going to cost you. Because of skyrocketing component prices and that doubled base storage, expect a mandatory $100 Apple tax across the board. Just like we saw with the recent MacBook Air refresh, the new base M5 Mac Mini is almost certainly going to start at $799. I want to know what you think down below. Is doubling the base storage worth a $100 price hike? Or are you going to hold out for an M6 machine? Speaking of the M6, we need to address the massive elephant in the room. If Asian supply chains like Makotakra are claiming that M6 laptops are entering mass production by late autumn, why on earth would you buy a brand new desktop packed with a year-old M5 chip? It sounds completely backward, but this is exactly how Apple's multi-tier silicon strategy operates. The upcoming M6 architecture relies on TSMC's cutting-edge 2nm fabrication process. Early 2nm production runs are absurdly expensive, and the physical yields are incredibly limited right now. Tim Cook is going to hoard every single one of those initial M6 chips for high-margin flagship hardware, like the rumored MacBook Ultra or top-tier MacBook Pros. It will take a long time for those advanced 2nm chips to trickle down to budget desktops. The M5 Mac Mini is far from cancelled. It is simply waiting for global logistics to catch up. If your current daily driver is dying and you need a desktop today, the M4 Mac Mini is still an absolute monster of a machine, assuming you can actually find a retail store that has one sitting on the shelf.